welcome. Thank you for taking the time, Bianca, for having a chat with me around Black History Month. And so, just in case anybody who's watching this isn't aware of you and what you do and the remarkable work that you do, can you just give us a little introduction to yourself, please?
Oh, thank you, Lian. And it's great to be here.
Yeah.
I always love supporting anything that OTD does. I am Bianca Jones, for anyone who hasn't seen me before. I run a company called EDP Training, and we have a strong focus on mental health as well as race equity and allyship. So, the intersectionality of racism and mental health, that's completely my bag. And we have the Race Ahead suite of courses that we deliver across the UK to all size organisations to help them with their anti racism journey and their race equity work as well.
Amazing. And I know that some of our team have been on the Race Ahead training. And also we have a couple of coaches who have been trained within that area as well. So yeah, I am so thrilled to have this conversation with you today. And so the next thoughts are, what are your thoughts around Black History Month? And what does this month actually mean to you?
Black History Month it is important. I believe that it's an important month to be able to raise awareness and to educate people to take the opportunity actually to pay attention and to be able to learn, to be able to celebrate. I think the Black people, the Black contribution into our economy that was built post war Britain, as well as the creative impact as well, which I think is overlooked, how much of our culture also has been impacted by Black people, particularly reflecting on the Windrush generation that were invited over to help rebuild as well. The theme this year is standing firm in power and pride. And I've reflected over the past couple of weeks about what that actually means to me. And I think that there's so many different messages and meaning that can come from that. So the only thing that I can go with is what it means to me personally. And I think, as well as celebrating all the fantastic contributions, it's important in the current climate, which we cannot ignore, is
No.
to reflect where we are. So, yes, we've come so far. And in the work that I do, I believe that there are more allies out there, but racists are louder. So we
Mhm.
need to galvanize allies and give them confidence. And months like this are the months that we can do that. It also means to me the recognition for the unwavering commitment to race equity and social justice that Black people have,
Mhm.
and all the contribution and activism that goes around that as well, because the resilience that is needed to continue um, to fight the tide of racism is a hard one.
Mhm. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. And actually, there was something on the radio this morning, even about a documentary that was released yesterday about the police and about racism and misogyny in the police. And there was an MP that was quoted actually. I can't remember the name of the MP, but they had just said that there was a documentary that came out in 2004 around this topic, and now 20 odd years later, and we're still in the same position. So I absolutely agree with you in terms of it being an opportunity to reflect where we are currently. And I love your thought around that there are more allies out there, but there is so much work still to be done. And so, yes, I think that this month is needed, even if it is just an opportunity to highlight those matters and find solutions, and then also celebrate the incredible work of yourself and also some our Black community and what they do. So thank you for that. And so next question is, how has your identity impacted your upbringing and driven you to where you actually are today?
That's a really interesting one. And when I get asked about identity, or when we talk about identity on the courses, in the eyes of the law, and also our own eyes and lens, my identity is I'm dual heritage. So I am what formerly some language people may use as mixed race. I use dual heritage. However, because of my skin tone, because it's my skin tone's darker than many dual heritage people, I would say that I've had from society and been treated the Black experience, if that makes sense. So, all the statistics that we see across institutions, I feel like that has been very much my experience. Now, depending on what rooms I'm in, depends on what I identify as. Some rooms I will say I'm dual heritage, some spaces I will say I identify as a Black woman. It completely depends. I think identity is so multifaceted and nuanced as well. But in my case, identifying as, let's just say, for ease, a Black woman, I think navigating particularly the mental health system, for anyone who knows my story, was the very start of my journey. The inequalities of not being given the same options, not being told about CBT, not being told about talking therapy, um, all those kind of things that are still happening today in the mental health system was when I started to see the disparities. Coupled with this, I have a very close family member with a severe mental health diagnosis
Mhm.
of schizophrenia. So I also witnessed the disparities for them as well. And that's what really spurred me on my mental health training journey when I retrained with Mental Health First Aid England, and then the race equity work that I was always doing in pockets, but there wasn't a demand for it until Black Lives Matter movement happened and the murder of George Floyd. And then, of course, companies were very interested in being able to learn more and do something about what's happening. So I was able then to bring my race equity and mental health work to the forefront of my business as well. So actually, my identity is very wrapped up in my lived experience and the work that I do now, which I think is only a benefit because it makes it more authentic. And same
Mhm.
for my courses. We visit countries like Gambia, Senegal, Cape Verde, for example. We have some more trips planned because we want to know how the historical context of transatlantic slave trade still goes on to impact those countries and also the UK today. So everything that I do is very much intertwined in the Race Ahead courses and making sure that they're always updating, they're always current, and they're always fit for purpose as well. We make sure that it's also not from just feelings.
Mhm.
We make sure that it's from facts and statistics and research as well.
Great. And I know that you mentioned about there being sort of a business need and interest about race equity around the Black Lives Matter movement. Um, what's your thoughts about since then? Has it scaled up or has it died down? What's happened around that as we look at 2025, 2026 soon? Yeah, what's happening there, do you think?
That's a great question. Where are we now from the Black Lives Matter movement? We have progressed, and I can only go from my lens as a trainer, someone who goes in and facilitates conversations with companies, majority white people as well. We've moved on. People have done a lot of their own education and people are doing their own work. There is a hunger and a willingness, more importantly, because
Yeah.
I don't think there was a willingness before, whereas the whole world stood still and paid attention. So that willingness has definitely grown. However, it definitely died down.
Right.
And it has a resurgence. It does go up and down, up and down, up and down. Some companies, organizations, people, I've got to give credit where it's due, it's continuing. But there are a lot of companies and people where it has died down and stopped. Again, we've got contributing factors, we've got our, across the pond and what's happening there.
Yeah.
Our government, we've got the raise the flags at the moment. So there's a lot of things that are contributing to people being nervous around doing any work about race equity. In my lens, to stop what you're doing would be really detrimental in the current climate. And I think that organizations that are continuing their work are really brave and inspiring. And it's also making a stand and making a point. I do think as long as we have people, this work is going to be needed.
Yeah.
And again, my strap line is always nobody should get hurt in the workplace due to the color of their skin.
Right.
And this work is vital. I feel like we've come so far forward. And as I said, I do genuinely believe that there are more allies out there than racists. The challenge is that racists are louder than allies. And allies are often not sure what to do. They
Hmm.
might have the willingness, but the action and the confidence is often not there. And the way to get that confidence is knowledge. Knowledge is power. Power gives you confidence to be able to speak up, to be able to take action. And I just think it always comes down to your learning journey and awareness so that you can be the best ally that you can be. And not just in regards to Black people and race equity, but across the board.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. Oh, I could always listen to you forever, Bianca, honestly.
Oh,
Uh, and I suppose actually, as we look forward, so to keep that momentum going, what is the one thing that you think that we should do or can do during this month
yeah.
of celebration to really enhance our understanding and become more confident and brave within the topic of race equity?
I love that because I'm going to get asked that a lot. I always go back to the same thing, whether it's Black History Month or not. But obviously, we want to make this month meaningful. We don't want to make it performative. We want it to be things that are really going to stick. And for me, it goes back to education and learning.
Hmm.
Black people are not walking textbooks. Not every Black person has to teach you
No.
unless they want to. So it's really important that somebody's done their own learning. I find it really endearing almost when somebody comes and asks me something, but it's because they've watched something or because they've read something. And I'm like, okay, this person's tried, they've done some self learning. That's fantastic. And I think that's the best thing that we can continue to do. Blogs, books, anything that's going to give you some insight and some education to kind of negate ignorance and discomfort as well. The only thing that's going to dissolve discomfort is learning. And I think that's the most important thing that we can do. On top of the learning piece, I want to add when we think about racism and some of the historical context, which I won't go into now, a lot of it comes down to not being relatable and not seeing someone as human. So that's why I am really encouraging always lived experience. So talking to people that don't look like you, talking to Black people, talking to them if they're willing to share, or watching things on YouTube. We have the internet at our fingertips. But listening to somebody's lived experience does something very special for allies.
Yeah.
We've got a human being in front of us and
Hmm.
we connect to that humanness. We connect. And once we connect, we can't unconnect. It's like the saying, once you see, you can't unsee. So listen to people, listen to stories. And I think that's really powerful.
Thank you. And so I thank you for sharing your story today, Bianca, because our conversations, whenever I'm having a conversation with you, I'm always like, right, okay, what next? What can we do? You are inspiring to not only me, but also, others. And I think the work that you do is absolutely crucial and critical. And I also just love how your approach with it, that human-centered approach and putting the individual first. So thank you so much for that.